So before we've had one game played under Mike Norvell, we've got a controversy to deal with, the head coach, in regards to race relations in the country and his response to his football team. We talk Florida State football here at MarkRogersTV every Tuesday night at 7 o'clock Eastern time, so we hope you will join us for that. One of our main analysts, of course, Logan Robinson from Knowles Game Day, to break it down. And Logan, you let me know about this situation that's been brewing since late last night, and I appreciate you doing that and coming on here to give us the latest.
Yes, good afternoon. I'm used to seeing you at nighttime, but here we are in the afternoon. I know I messaged you. I probably woke you up, but I thought it'd be something probably good to talk about and maybe clear maybe some of the stuff that's seems like it's over now, but it's good to recap it and kind of maybe get some confusion out of the way and obviously go over it and, give some interesting details on it.
Yeah. So take us through the timeline in regards to what Mike Norvell said about his communication with the team, how that possibly got misconstrued, and then Marvin Wilson's response, who kind of led the charge in regards to calling out Norvell.
So most of everybody knows by now, Marvin Wilson tweeted out and quote tweeted what Mike Norvell said to Sean Reed, who works for The Athletic. He was formerly with the FSU beat. I have a good kind of friendship with Sean Reed, is a great writer for The Athletic. And we actually covered this, Mark, on our Tuesday night show. It actually happened live whenever Norvell released a statement saying that he talked to players individually, one-on-one. And so Marvin Wilson didn't entirely agree with that. And that went out live on Twitter, along with a few other players supporting Marvin Wilson, starters in there. I can't remember all the names, but I do know, I don't want to name wrong names and screw it up, but there were also players involved in supporting Marvin. And this was all happening last night at 12 around midnight. And then Tamarion Ontario, obviously another one that another big leader that came back to FSU. He could have gone to the NFL draft, comes back, and is also supporting it. So it started a lot of conversation. It went from people going to sleep to waking up. Our Discord was blowing up. And so now it was all about trying to figure out what's going on here. What was the message that Mike Norvell was telling the players? And nobody had that message. I know it's now leaked. I think it's been leaked out to public. But from what I was told on our Discord, or from what I was told from personnel inside the program, this was a generated message to every player. And it was pretty much telling them, hey, if you wanted to open up, I'm always here and you can come to me. It was a big old long message. And it had the personal part about it pretty much was just saying the first name, and then it was kind of copy and paste kind of situation. And I think that's where Marvin Wilson kind of probably had a problem with it, saying that he was talking personally to every player one-on-one, whereas that wasn't actually happening. And that's where he kind of got a little ticked off maybe. And so it kind of just blew up last night. Most of the players now after this they had workouts this morning, so they had their meeting. There was some rumbling that some of them weren't even going to go. And I got word that actually Marvin Wilson was the one to stand up and tell players to go listen to Mike Norvell and hold them accountable to go, which was a big move. I thought that was a good thing. I knew things were going to head the right way because they were going to listen to Marvin Wilson. He's the one that was leading this argument. And plus he's also probably one of the biggest leaders on the team. So I thought things were most certainly heading the right way. And it seems like they have in the last hour or two. Guys have been showing videos of them working out. I saw Amari Gaynor. He posted a video of him working out. Also, Asante Samuel Jr., a corner for FSU starter, put out a video saying, don't listen to the media too much. We're here, we're lifting, y'all are tripping kind of deal. And I think that seems to be kind of the the theme going on here. And actually, in the last 30 minutes, too, Marvin Wilson has released a video, 3.5 minutes long. If you guys haven't, I'll definitely go check it out. He talks about Mike Norvell kind of a little bit and in the caption of the video. But he also speaks about, they had a team meeting. It was successful, and they figured out 3 things that they're going to do after going through this meeting. They first of all are going to hold everybody accountable to go vote. Number 2, they're going to help with fundraisers more in the community, which is great. And then they're also going to help with schools, kids that are coming out of bad areas, and go be supportive for them. And it was 3.5 minutes long, and he spoke very well, and pretty proud of a player coming out and talking like that. And so that's pretty much, in a nutshell, pretty much of what happened last night. Like I said, it went from 12 a.m. all the way to 4 a.m. and things kind of started dying down. But a lot of people were really nervous about Mike Norvell. They were really nervous, and I think a lot of people are still expecting a statement or something of that from Mike probably soon.
So if you're just coming across the live stream right now, we got Logan Robinson on the line from Knoll Game Day. So I always encourage everyone to jump on over there, because what you hear him bring to the table is just a slice of what he delivers and the rest of the crew there at Knoll Game Day. So please check out their work. It's MarkRogersTV, the voice of college football. Please like, comment, share the video, subscribe, of course. That way you get the bell for the notifications, and you know that we're coming on live. And sometimes it's just, bam, this broke. We got some breaking news. Let's hit it. Let's get after it, and let's jump online. So that's why it's important to subscribe. Leave your comments, your questions, your debate topics, and so forth concerning this in particular, but Florida State football in general. If you've got anything else for Logan, I think that one of the big lessons in this is something you hit on late in your explanation, was that there can be good that comes out of a mistake. So if this is handled properly, and it appears as though basically Marvin Wilson has led the charge in regards to a reasonable player response to, hey, we're going to hold the head coach accountable. He made a mistake, going to hold him accountable. I would have done it a little bit differently, but Marvin Wilson's his own man, and he's certainly younger than I am. And I think that maybe he should have gone to the head coach first, but that's fine. Things are done on social media these days, and I'm not going to hold him to the fire for that. But I would have gone to the head coach myself first and foremost before I would have gone to the media. But again, Marvin Wilson is showing some tremendous leadership qualities in rallying everyone, and that they were able to at least come to a temporary type of agreement and understanding to say, hey, we're still going to work out today. We're still going to be together as a team and do the right thing. I think is pretty amazing in all this. So there can be, if it's handled the right way, and if people are stand-up guys, and in this case, it's got to be Mike Norvell to the mistake he made, then some good can come out of that. And this can actually galvanize a team sometimes if it's handled the right way. So it was an obvious mistake by Mike Norvell, and Logan, of course, correct me if I'm wrong. But it appears as though what he needed to say was, I've contacted all the players on the team. I've reached out to them, made myself available if they want to talk about this situation, instead of saying, I talked to everybody.
Yeah, that would have helped just a tiny bit. And it's tough nowadays. I mean, it goes straight on social media. It's spread out in front of everybody. Obviously, the times right now, it's tough. And I think Mike Norvell meant no harm whatsoever. He wants to help and actually be there for his guys. It's just a tough situation. And like you were saying, Mark, times like these, definitely in your family, football teams are a family. Times like these are probably you're probably going to get stronger out of this. You're going to grow your trust, and things will be better, hopefully, when things move on a little bit longer. But it's a thing where social media is different nowadays. I remember looking back at like the 2013, 2012, even the team then at FSU, and social media was taken away by Jimbo Fisher. Not only by Jimbo Fisher, but Jimbo also said that leaders on the team like Telvin Smith, Jameis, Timmy Jernigan didn't want players being on social media because it was such a big distraction. They kind of want to keep everything tight as a family on the inside. And so it's just a different time. And, Marvin Wilson is leading the charge on this. And he wanted to kind of, I do agree, Mark, at least from my point of view too. I think sometimes things could be handled on the inside first. But maybe there was some stance where he needed to take that direction. So now we see from here on out where the team goes. I think from what we've seen so far, like I said, we saw Mari Gaynor working out. We saw Asante. We saw Dante Lugo. They had morning workouts immediately, I believe, at 10 o'clock after that. And they had smiles on their faces and they were happy and they were talking about don't be distracted by the media and what they're telling you. We love our coach. I think things are going to be fine. And then I personally just don't want things to be portrayed in negative ways because, the players are telling us one thing. I think we should listen to the players as always.
And again, this is a huge misstep on one hand, but because it was dealt with quickly and decisively by Marvin Wilson, and even though, again, I have a slight disagreement, but I want to make that very clear. That's just an opinion on my part. I'm not calling him out to say he did anything wrong, because I think it's open to conversation in regards to what gets put out in the media and for the public today versus years ago. So I think the important thing is that he was decisive and got the team together, and that they were on the field today together is an important sign and a good sign for the Florida State unity right now in all this. That they didn't walk out and say we're protesting and we're skipping practice, because I saw some as soon as you contacted me, Logan. I jumped on, of course, and I was dealing with work stuff at the same time, and jumped on to see what's being said here. And I saw several headlines that indicated that the players might not get on the field today.
That also was the big deal. That's where a lot of FSU fans were like, "Oh snap!" And so that's also something. So I tried to just lay it down real quick at the first part of this episode, but from what we were told, players were not going to be going to workouts. It sounded like all of them were, and that's what kind of Marvin Wilson's tweets sound like. But from what I heard around 1 a.m. last night, I was told from a starting defensive player, that he was indeed that player was going to be at the workouts no matter what. He was going to be there with a few other teammates. So that's where I started thinking, okay, so there's some different maybe ideas, or maybe there's some confusion between the teammates on this situation that maybe Marvin Wilson is presenting. And then the meeting happened. I was nervous because there was some rumors that maybe some players weren't going to be showing up until I got word that everybody was indeed going to be there, and Marvin Wilson led the charge. So everything felt a little bit more optimistic and things started making more sense. But the workout thing was very scary, because then, of course, national media was running all with it. And obviously we talked about on the Tuesday show with the Clemson thing. And then also there was something last night. I believe an Oklahoma State player got caught on video saying some disgusting things. So, it goes to national media, and this is a big topic right now anyways, definitely on Twitter and for national sites. So it was scary. It was a very, very scary situation, because you go from Jimbo, you just lost Willie Taggart after 2 years, and things are starting to head in the right direction, definitely recruiting wise, starting to pick up some momentum for Mike Norvell. And then this happens right here. And of course, national media already likes to go after FSU. I'm sure Jason on here, as always, will tell you that. That's easy. The strike against workouts was a very scary scene last night for FSU Twitter, because FSU Twitter, it's a different kind of army, and they all woke up last night.
Yeah, different kind of army, meaning we've got 108 on the line here real quick, and this is with no forewarning or anything in regards to, and so I send my apologies out to everyone in regards to, there's nothing too different I could have done, but basically Logan contacted me early this morning. I had a bunch of work obligations and wanted to get on here as soon as possible, so the notifications didn't go out until bam, right when we jumped on here. So I appreciate everybody being flexible and getting 109 people on here very quickly. Running through the live chat, nothing in particular in regards to anything that needs to be addressed, just support for Norvell and also criticism of the head coach, which is understandable, certainly. And it'll be interesting to see if this just quiets down completely and becomes a non-issue, or if any kind of rumblings continue. And it's going to be imperative for Norvell to show his players a lot of humility, and that he needs forgiveness, and that he's going to come clean on this. And I'm guessing he's taken a right step in doing that, or they wouldn't be on the field and Marvin Wilson wouldn't have released the statement that he did.
Yeah, I want to I'll bring up a few players that have been expressed their thoughts on the meeting so far, on how it's gone, because I think that's what everybody wanted to know about, obviously. Kevon Glenn, linebacker, tweeted saying, "We love our coach." And this was 2 hours ago. He said, "We love our coach and we are together as a team. FSU football team and coaching staff is fine and working." 100 emoji, and then said, "See y'all in the fall." I saw here that Tamarion Terry has, I believe, liked and retweeted that tweet saying that. So that's a good sign. Mark, the reason I'm bringing up Tamarion Terry is because Tamarion Terry put out a tweet. I don't know if it'll show on here, but there you go. You can see it. He put out a orange and green. It looks yellow on here, but it's orange and green.
Okay.
Heart emojis with that like that nervous emoji symbol. And so that was happening right after the meeting. That happened. They tweeted that immediately after the meeting at like 10 o'clock. And so FSU fans were really worried because, first of all, it looked like Miami looked like they were showing love for Miami. And it seemed like, I know we got a lot of Miami fans in here too, but I hate to break their dreams and all that, but it seems like that's probably because of FAMU moving their conference. I think they're moving from the MEAC to the SIAC, whatever it is. I forget the conference that FAMU's in, but it seems like that's what he was talking about. And they're moving from the MEAC to the SWAC, it seems like.
Okay. If you get past the FBS, I can't help you out, Logan. I'm sorry. I was silent on that one.
I know. I had to do my investigation on this just to maybe think about what Tamarion Terry was tweeting about, just because people are about to lose their minds. I'm not trying to spin it. We got all the Miami fans in here thinking I'm spinning. I'm just trying to see what kind of investigation I did. I think that's going to be the thing. I mean, he already retweeted. He loves FSU, blah, blah, blah. He loves their coach. So, I'm just trying to look out for my Miami fans in there.
Absolutely. Hey, everybody out there, understand that Logan contacted me and he wanted to hit this head on. And I'm certainly one of my initiatives here is to hit breaking news when it happens. Coaches get hired and fired, and coordinators and things like this happen. So anything that's breaking news, I want to jump on. I'm not going to be able to do it because of my schedule much of the time, but when I can, we're going to be here talking college football across the board. But of course, with Florida State being what it is on my channel, and with our designated show each and every Tuesday night, then that's what we've got.
Mm-hmm. Hey, let's see. Dennis says, "Logan, we don't want Terry. We only want to kick his ass, buddy." I'm fine. We're fine with that. We're fine. Good luck to you in a few months. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I think that tweet from Terry was only talking about the probably the conference change, because that happened this morning. So maybe that's what it is. And obviously, Florida State's and FAMU are right next to each other here in Tallahassee. So that's most likely what it is. I highly doubt immediately he'd be tweeting rivals colors like that. But there's also been numerous other players tweeting about. Corey Durden also showed his support. Also, teammate Marvin Wilson's on the D line showed support towards Marvin Wilson, and Durden also responded to his tweet that might have sounded like he was giving a hit against Mike Norvell. He corrected and said, "Hey, I'm not talking about my coach. We FW with coach, meaning we F with coach." So there's a lot of I always had to give like the abbreviation meanings.
You did with me, definitely. So that's a good call on your part.
Yeah, if someone's ever saying I FWU, that means that they mess with you. They're cool with you. Let's see, who else is. There's been a lot of players that have been vocal about it, which is good. Isaiah Bolden is in there. Brennan Gant. Let's see, I have a whole list of players here. Glenn Demore Tate, incoming freshman. FSU's big recruit that's coming as a freshman, Amari Gaynor. Jashawn Corbin, obviously, the transfer from Texas A&M, running back. Corey Durden, like I said, Gann. So yeah, a lot of support about the meeting, and they're ready to move on. It seems like they're ready to. Luckily, this was handled. It happened at midnight, and it seems like it's going to be handled. This is going to be it. It's going to end this afternoon, but it was it was a long night of. People were very, very scared about what was going to happen. Is Norvell gone? Is Bob Stoops coming now? Is it really Bob Stoops? Was this all the plan all along?
Yeah, let's set up Mike Norvell for disaster. We're going to have a race rioter about 1,000 across the country to set up Mike Norvell for disaster.
Yeah, exactly.
James Pennington, appreciate your Facebook comment, but it's so massive it covered up both of us on the screen. So I would like to know from the folks on Facebook. So we've been doing the Facebook Live in conjunction with the YouTube Live at the same time for about 3 weeks now. I don't know that you guys on Facebook can see the rest of the live chat on YouTube. So just understand that we've got most of the traffic on YouTube. And if you want to jump on over and join in the live chat conversation with everybody else, that's happening on YouTube. But we certainly appreciate our Facebook views, which were over 3,000 for our show on Tuesday night, the last time I checked, Logan. So that's thanks to you and James in particular for getting the word out.
Wow, that's actually pretty impressive.
I saw 3,068, and that's been maybe a day ago that I saw that.
Jeez, so we're rolling. Yeah, if you're new to coming to this, I know we have a lot of people coming from our Discord. But if you guys didn't know, we record every Tuesday night with Jason Parker and James Coleman, and obviously Mark here at 7 p.m. Eastern time. And we cover kind of like the hot topics regarding FSU football. Now that it's the off season, we'll talk a little bit of recruiting here and there, along with some predictions and bold statements. And then in the regular, having rivals coming here. Majority of the chat is Miami fans, so we get to have some fun with them for most of the time. And Jason gets to deal with that while they come after him and bully him. But it's always a good time. So Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. is the fun place to be if you're kind of wanting to talk football. And I'll also drop questions for us because you've got 3 guys around here and that are covering FSU that can usually most certainly answer some of those. And we have a good time. Mark allows us to, read the chat and deal with the haters that come through. It's very nice of him.
And it's a great mix because it's Florida State concentrated. That's all we're talking about here in terms of the video itself. But man, we got fan bases represented from all over the place, especially obviously Miami and Florida fans are interested. But we've got Ohio State and Michigan fans and LSU fans, and I could go on down the line that jump in here because when we fire up the live chats for anybody, and then in particular Florida State, they know that we're going to talk college football, and a lot of it affects other fans and love to trash talk, and it's all healthy and fun. So as long as you're trash talking with some level of respect and not being personal, we love it.
Mm-hmm.
So it is a good time, and these guys have carried this thing for over a year now. I'm just here to kind of officiate and referee to a certain extent, and then when it hits on something that I can talk to, I'll certainly give my opinion and so forth. And so, yeah, Jason and I will mix it up in particular once in a while if we get on a national topic in particular. But good stuff.
It's good. It's usually the Mike Norvell versus Willie Taggart type of situation, and then versus Jimbo Fisher situation. I don't know. It always comes up at least one time a night, and it's free entertainment for me. Me and James just kind of sit back here and eat our popcorn and enjoy it. Before we kind of end off for whichever, I got a message from a player. And he stated that the meeting went straight, and he said, "Hell yeah, everything is fine." So that's a good sign there in case anybody else was worried about what's happening. And it's like I said, probably a big growing experience for this team as a whole. You got to remember, this week the staff was able to get back together. The players were in town and get into voluntary workouts. They haven't seen each other in so long. I was told a little bit that there was some tension between players, not players and staff, but players coming in. That's kind of understandable. They haven't been around each other in a little while. Also, you got transfers coming in from different schools, probably got some different egos here and there. They got to be set straight and whatnot. I mean, that's just a expected thing, but the players are coming back after quarantine away from a lot of the other players for 2 months, and things are trying to get back to normal. Obviously, today and last night was a pretty rough situation, but it seems like it's been handled under Mike Norvell. I don't think it's completely over yet. I think he's got some more fixing up to do, obviously. It might take a little while, but I think as a family of this team, it's had to have grown a little bit here.
Yeah, certainly when something like this happens, it would be one thing if Mike Norvell had 5 years under his belt and the players trusted him and had been through games with him in a season, and that camaraderie and that trust had already been built. Then he makes a mistake and they're like, okay, coach, come on, what happened here? But this is right out of the gate. So they're doing all the right things in regards to, so we don't know whether they're basically internally saying it's all good, we're good, or it's not quite good, we'll wait and see, but we want to tell everyone, hey, hold off, we're good, we're kind of handling it. And that's probably where they're at. And it's going to be important for Norvell to continue to earn their trust, because he's basically made a statement, met with them, worked it out to some degree, and now they're going to see how he performs going forward. And obviously, he can't correct this in one day. It's going to be, when you make a mistake, unfortunately in life, this is how life works. You can screw up a reputation. You can screw up your trust with somebody in 2 seconds by something you say. But to earn it back takes day after day after week after week after month, you know. So that's just the way it works, man. You can lose trust in a second, but it takes a long time to earn it back. And that's what they're working through right now. But I think all the indications, as you mentioned, are really good about the solidarity of the team and the leadership they have to get back on the field immediately, to let everybody know outside the locker room, we're good, we're together. So
yeah,
I think those are good signs.
Yeah, as long as they're all in the same direction. I think this is where you've also got to start holding your teammates accountable. You got to start staying on the same page with things. I think sometimes players will go to social media and they'll be voicing their concerns on things, but you know, some of them are wishing that they could talk to each other internally before. And this is where, because if someone were to tweet that they were FWing with Mike Norvell, if they're cool with Mike Norvell, there might be a player that isn't, and then they are going to go on social media and start up a whole other thing. And so that's where you got to hope that as that team meeting and the camaraderie between them actually meant something this morning. And so far it seems to be that way. I know David Coburn was the athletic director was the first one to say that the meeting was very candid and it went well. But that's the AD. Not a lot of people are really impressed by that anyways. I don't think they should be. So they were waiting until players were speaking. Most certainly your leaders, definitely the one that was charging the force was Marvin Wilson, and you got that. And he put out a message just a few hours after the meeting. So yeah, it seems like things are heading into a positive direction, and Mike Norvell has got to clean it up. And, you know, there's some time to have those one-on-ones now, and hopefully it might turn out to be in the coming months, it might turn out to be a great thing. Like Marvin Wilson said, they're going to start doing fundraisers more, focusing on that, helping generate money for the community also, and fundraisers for the Black community, and then also doing they all going to hold each other accountable to go vote if they want to make a change. He said that we've got to have, as a whole team, we were going to vote. And then number 3, go to schools, go to Black communities, go to young guys that need help and need their direction, and be role models. And so I think Marvin Wilson, if you guys haven't looked, go to his Instagram page. He did a very well job explaining that, and you know, why he brought that up yesterday too, why he tweeted out what he did. And yeah, you know, Logan, if anything, Mike Norvell has only widened the gap between he and Manny Diaz, because as Tabardine tells us down here in the comments, Manny Diaz is the best coach in college football. So oh yeah, he just has another step to take. The best coach in college football has a career record of 6-7. Wow, that's pretty impressive right there. Manny Diaz is a god. I mean, he must have did something last year that I didn't know of, and the year before that. If he's the best one in college football, then man, I guess Dabo Swinney, Nick Saban, did they all retire last year or something happened? For Mike Norvell to reach those ranks, he's got to check off losses to Duke, FIU, Georgia Tech. He's got to get those done. Oh, that's tough. That's real tough. Well, I know I'm getting hosed in here. It's hard to do this solo dolo. I mean, we got all the Miami fans in here telling me 27-10, 27-10. Thank you, Martin, for that. Thank you. We've moved on from the History Channel. I mean, I know you keep that History Channel on favorite on Xfinity, but that's over with. 6-7 says Turbidine. You're still in here, man. But we have Clemson fans in here, which that's a whole different conversation that I think is going to go back to them starting today. I think FSU Twitter is going to send it back on #FireDabo, because that's probably going to be the best bet for FSU getting back to a ACC champion or championship, is like saying goodbye to Dabo Swinney. Jason should be taking this L with Logan. Man, well, I guess this is their time to have a good day. I mean, FSU, this is a rough one, but this is their time. Miami has that quite a bit. Just wait until those notepads open up for another decommitment. I can't wait to see that in the next couple of days. I'm sure there's one coming up. Well, when you have a day like this, yeah, you can expect the rival to pile on. It's just part of the deal. It is, and it's fun. I love it. I have a Gator fan that in 2013 we had the same class, but a huge Gator fan. But we got to remember, in 2013 Florida went 4-8, so I unloaded on him. I bullied him for the spring semester. I didn't see him. He left that class, so I did my damage. But I'll go and let them know in here in the chat that I will not be leaving. I will not be leaving anytime soon. I will stay here and take the heat. The donations are rolling. We might need to just start doing emergency shows more often. Yeah, I think that, let's see. Yeah, we got another one coming in. I want to acknowledge these as always. So if anybody ever contributes, know that it's my intent, obviously, to acknowledge that. So we got Crip6247. Thank you so much for the contribution. Just got one in from Taran. Mark this content boring. Where's Cam? Well, we got another Miami fan. So we've got 2 contributions for our Florida State live stream from Miami fans. So whatever it takes. If you want to trash talk and jump on the super chat, hey, we'll take it. So it looks like Mike Norvell just now has retweeted Marvin Wilson's video right here. And of course, we can't play it. It's going to be all messed up. But then he also retweeted what Marvin Wilson said. We'll see if there's a statement from Norvell, but he retweeted both of Marvin Wilson's tweets, and it seems like they're most certainly on the same page. So I think everything's going to be all right. And going back to Tran's thing here, looking for Cam, we had a 2-hour long live stream with him last season that you guys should go check out. I enjoyed most of that. He was there, and then I think we've tried inviting him again, but he just doesn't show up.
I brought it up to him last time we were on. Cam and I are on mostly on Saturdays. It's difficult for us to find a specific time, but we get together once a week for our Miami live show each week. So that's the deal with Cam. So Saturdays. It has been on Saturdays. That's what's worked out the last few weeks, but we haven't been able. We used to have a nice little Wednesday setup where I'd go Florida State, Miami, Ohio State right in a row with 1 hour live streams, but my work schedule messed with that.
Mike Williams, I mean,
Miami's 3 for 3, Logan, on these contributions.
No FSU fans can throw Mark, a donation in here, kind of making us look tough here. I mean, we appreciate the Miami fans rolling through as always, and they're helping us bring in some views. I'll never complain about it, but we need some more FSU fans in here, most certainly. I don't know what we got to do to get on the algorithm for FSU fans. There's James right there. James, we were just talking about Cam and him not showing up for our live streams. I don't know where Cam is, but they said only Saturdays. So James, we're going to have to do Saturday.
So I'm going to let everybody in here know that so everybody's got full-time jobs. Everybody's got other sites to deal with. It's great that Logan gives us this time each and every week on Tuesday night at 7 o'clock Eastern time. So please just appreciate that we get 3 top Florida State analysts in here every Tuesday night at 7. And then when a situation like this breaks, Logan jumps on here, gives up his time. So thank you so much for the Super Chat contributions. I want to let everybody, be completely transparent and throw it out there that, and we joke about this, Jason and I in particular, from time to time about getting a sponsor. But if we get a sponsor, then I can actually pay these guys, and maybe we expand the show or throw out another window each week or do something like that. And there you go. But, if you've got any connections with any possible sponsors, then let us know, or obviously continue to donate to MarkRogersTV. And again, that would be my ultimate mission and purpose here to build out this college football program, is to get these guys and be able to compensate them to a certain degree for the time that they give us.
Well, and here we go again. We have another 850 Kane. We're getting FSU fans. We're getting embarrassed on live thing. I mean, the thing is, this is a conversation about Mike Norvell and what's going on here, and was a rough day for FSU fans, but it's good to see the Miami fans coming in here and taking care of business. And I think this is by far, since I've been on here, the most donations that have happened in front of my eyes in a show, at least for me and Jason and James so far. And I'm glad to be here for it. Mark Rogers works his tail off getting out videos. I can't imagine. Plus, he's got a job already, but I couldn't imagine. I'm trying to see if anybody's.
I'd also like to remind everyone that we just cut a show on Tuesday night. It was a really amazing discussion because we had it packed full of Florida State football talk for about 45 minutes. And then we addressed the situation that's going on in the country. And everybody was able to. And of course, James, being African-American, obviously we gave him the spotlight and gave him the stage because he's the one that experiences this much deeper than the rest of us. But certainly Logan, Jason, and I all had our different takes on what we've experienced, what we've seen, what we think needs to happen. And it was just a great conversation. And I got to tell the live chat that I was impressed with everybody's response for the most part, that everybody was sure. I understand if you just want to hear college football out of me. And I got 10,000. This is a literal count, over 10,000 videos on college football. And we don't talk about social issues and politics on here. So it's not what I believe I should be doing. And that's what this, if I'm going to go talk about politics, I'll start another channel. But that's what we do, is talk college football all the time. But that was, it's become so important and there's so much going on that it just can't be ignored, and it's got to be addressed. And it's good to have that discussion. and we might do that from time to time based on what's happening in the world. But it was a great discussion. So you guys jump on that. I think it'll be worth your hour to invest in our conversation on Florida State football, but again, on the race situation and race relations the other night on Tuesday night. So you can find that right here. And that
was great. I thought that was great. Martin, another one, just rolling. Now Martin's after me, though. He's been after me all. I haven't even met you yet, Martin. I'm sure you'll be in here on Tuesday when we have our next FSU one. But this is for Logan. This is for Logan and another one. No way. Martin says, this is for Logan and FSU. I know times are hard financially for y'all. Well, we thought it was going to be even hard last night. We thought we had to throw Mike away and go get Bob Stoops and pay him even more money. I was going to have to ask you for some money to help throw it at the boosters to get our new coach. But I think things are going to be all right now. But I do appreciate that.
Yeah, you really can't deal with that kind of buyout a year after you dealt with another huge one. What was Tag's buyout? Do you remember? It was pretty substantial.
It might be wrong. Yeah, I don't want to say the wrong number.
I remember us talking about it at the time. I was going to say 13 or 15 or something like that.
Yeah, around 18. So somewhere around there. I know there's because there was a lot of speculation and kind of investigation on the contract that FSU had with Willie Taggart and how much he was actually going to get from it because of what was said inside of the written contracts. So I was all over the place, but I believe it's around 18. Yeah, okay. James is in here saying 18 too. Let's see. Turan says he sent $5. So this is what I'm reading. He said FSU can't donate because they spent all the money firing Willie Taggart. Okay. So I mean, I can't argue too much. But y'all let me know whenever y'all get y'all's own stadium. I'll actually go to that. I'll be there for that one.
Well, we got Turan jumping in here again. All right, that's the one that you just read.
Yeah, we have no money, but I'm still waiting to see that stadium because I'm not going to go down to Miami. I know Jason keeps on inviting us to go down to Miami. I have not a lot of interest to go down to Miami. But whenever they get their own stadium, I promise you I'll be there in the first season that FSU plays there. I promise I will be, but I'm not going to go to that soccer stadium.
So James is over in Jacksonville, right?
Yep.
James is in Jacksonville. You're in Tallahassee. Jason's in Miami. I'm up here in Connecticut working for the Worldwide Leader, so that's why I'm stuck up here. Otherwise, I would be locating elsewhere, but that's my deal currently. Yeah, Jason keeps trying to get us all together, which I love it. It's great. It would be awesome if it could happen someday, but it's going to take a little scheduling and a few dollars chipped in to make it happen.
Exactly why we need that's why we need a sponsor so we can set up a live show. And I will go down if we have a live show. I'll go down to Miami, and that would be actually fun to have a lot of these Miami fans come say what's up and see the face behind these messages. I think that'd be the best part. But if we can get a sponsor. Jason said that he does have a bar that we can go film at and do our thing at, but I feel like I don't know. I feel like might not be telling the truth. I don't know, but I mean, he does look like he could be a bar guy. You know, he is trying to. He's got to spit his game.
Well, I went down for the Miami, Florida game that was played in Orlando because it was a week 0 game and there was no other college football going on that weekend, and had a big time. I was invited to a few parties, checked out some tailgating that afternoon before the nighttime game, and then got invited to a Miami private party, and that was a fun time and got to meet a lot of people that we see on here.
Yeah, that's perfect. I got real quick. Mike Norvell just released a statement. I'll go ahead and read it now. This is what Mike Norvell says. I'm proud of Marvin for utilizing his platform to express his reaction to my comments in an earlier interview. Last Saturday evening, I sent a text to each player individually to present an opportunity for open communication with me. Many members of our team chose to respond and have more in-depth conversations about issues and feelings. Marvin is right. It was a mistake to use the word every. Particularly at this time, words are important, and I'm sorry. Once again, I'm grateful for the opportunity that I was given to speak to our team more in depth as a result of Marvin being willing to express his feelings. We will continue to communicate and work together to be part of the solution, making our world a better place for all, in full caps. So it seems like everything's been cleared between Marvin Wilson and Mike Norvell. That was the biggest thing. The rest would have been handled itself between other players. I think it's a pretty good statement. Obviously, words do mean a lot right now in the way you're saying things. And moving forward, I think things are going to be handled a lot more tighter too, and as they should be. And definitely this year is going to be huge for the way that you're communicating things on social media and the way that you're expressing yourself and playing. Basically, definitely in just straight up interviews, just like Mark Norvell had with Deshaun Reed of The Athletic. And hopefully moving forward, these guys will be able to communicate and maybe they'll find a better way of working together.
So, Tyler, I believe you've been watching long enough to know that I'm going to hold you accountable if you make a comment that doesn't make any sense. So, Ohio State, too chicken to schedule a top 10 team. Okay, Ohio State is playing Oregon in the non-conference schedule this year. Oregon finished, check your standings from last year, top 5 in the nation. Ohio State in 2016 and 17 played Oklahoma both those years. Oklahoma finished in the top 10 in the country. So it sounds like they schedule non-conference games against top 10 teams. So, Tyler, don't say that.
You're getting Mark all riled up here.
So this is what you get when you come here to the Voice of College Football, is that we're going to hold you accountable when you make comments that are not factual. And so I have to do this all the time. And maybe it's about time I do another comments reaction, Logan, because I used to do that, because I'd comb through them and say, call people out and say, that's incorrect. Don't say that. And I love the opinion. Have your opinion. That's why we're here. But if you're just flat out wrong, we're going to call you on that. That's when Jason and I get into it from time to time.
That is absolutely correct, because you just go after his comments that he says live on air that are amazing. And look, Tyler donates right away and canceled Georgia.
You know what, Tyler? I will ask our Ohio State folks that, because I don't know why they canceled. This happens all the time, though. Teams are canceling games. It might have been when the Big Ten went from an 8 to a 9-game conference schedule, going from 2016 to 17, and some games got canceled because of the Big Ten going from 8 to 9 games. That could be it. But you know what? We do our Ohio State live stream each and every week. It's been on Fridays at 1 o'clock Eastern time. So I will ask that question. So, Tyler, stand by. We'll get that.
You're getting ripped on by this next donation, but this is by far, I think, the biggest one of the night. This one's they're now coming after you. It's not just me right now. I think, except for Martin, he's still nailing me. You know, he's still ticked off. But
okay, Mark low-key hates Miami. He always goes after us. Okay, what's there not to go after, New King God? I love Miami fans. I love that you've supported my channel, and we've got a ton on here, and we provide you with tons of Miami content. So you gotta, that's the reason you're here. Obviously, I come at things from a national perspective. Of course, I've got my slice of it, just like when we do our Florida State show each and every week. If you notice, the recruiting, the personnel breakdowns, all of that, man, I serve that up to Logan, Jason, and James, because they're the experts on Florida State football. What do I watch of Florida State football? Typically 5 or 6 games a year. When they're really good, it's going to be more than that. When they're down, I even though they only won 6 games last year, because of having the responsibility of the show, I made sure that I watched the cut down version of every game, so I could at least comment and knew what happened in every game. So I do the same thing with Miami. I watch, probably Miami hasn't New King God. Let's be reasonable here, and let's understand what the deal is. So Logan, he might be referring to a video about 3 months ago. I posted a video on Miami football and the state of Miami football and what it's been over the last 15 years. So let's understand Florida State's been down for 3 years. Let's understand that Miami's been down for 15 years. So 15 years, Florida State's won 9 conference championships and Miami's won 0. Miami's won. Now, when you really think of this number, you should really let this sink in. Over the last 15 years, Miami's won 57% of its games. That's like not even going 7-5 every year. That doesn't even average 7-5. So that's not a good football program. And I listed off all the programs in the country that have a better winning percentage the last 15 years than Miami. We're talking Georgia Tech, Kansas State. We don't have to go, we're not just talking about Ohio State and Alabama. We're talking about 40, 50 teams in the country have better winning percentages the last 15 years than Miami. So Miami's not been good. That's all there is to it. 43 teams. Here's another nugget for you, Logan, and then we'll move on and I'll get off my Miami rant.
I love these nuggets. These are some of my favorite nuggets. I love the taste of these.
So how many times has Florida State finished in the top 10 in the last 15 years? Probably 5 or 6 times at least, just under Jimbo. Just in those times, and obviously won a national championship. And I mentioned the 8 or 9 ACC championships. There have been 43 teams. Get that. If you would look at the top of college football, go down 43 slots to whatever you think that is, whoever that is, Kansas State, Virginia, somebody like that. There have been 43 teams in the last 15 years finish in the final top 10 in the country. One of them.
That's tough to hear. I hate hearing. I mean, that hurts my ears.
If you average that out to the Power 5, that's 8 teams per conference. Throw in Boise State, Notre Dame, a few other non-Power 5s, but that's an average of 8 teams in every conference that finished in the top 10, and Miami's not one of them.
God,
thank you so much for the contribution, and I love the debate and the conversation, and I will give all credit to Miami for being phenomenal. The best program in the country from, the late 80s into the 90s, and then for another little quick hit around 2001, 02. But that's your dynasty. And that's amazing. You won 5 national championships, but it's been next to nothing for 15 years.
Yeah. And being younger, 7 years for me, it's straight FSU dog Miami. It didn't feel too much like a rivalry for me. So that's tough.
I do have to credit Miami fans because when I went on that rant, it got a huge response, and I was amazed that 98% of the people were like, you know what, Mark? I hate to hear it. It hurts, but you're right. That's what it's been. That's what it is right now. I got like overwhelming positive comments.
Okay, so there's some maturing happening in Miami. And I am maturing in Miami. That's what I'm going to start calling it. Seems like people are waking up and understanding what's really happening. I do have to point out, though, because I was complaining earlier, but I think we do have the first donation from an FSU fan, Zenny Zapata. That's a pretty awesome name at the end.
Okay, I'll have to find that here.
He said, this thing keeps on bringing up Siri on here with these stupid AirPods. He's talking props to Marv for making a difference. I believe their bond is much stronger than Miami's. Good Knowles, natty season. Okay, perfect. I like that. Yeah, and I do agree. I do think now, honestly, I don't know how the bond is between Miami and FSU and the internal side of things, but as of today, as just FSU, I think things have gotten stronger as a family there. Taking care of business and listening to one another in this team meeting that they had in the IPF. Still social distancing and such is going on right now, so they had to hold it in the IPF. They were all wearing masks, and they sat down and spoke, and I'm sure a few players spoke out, including Marvin Wilson. They handled things the right way, it seems, and there's still some things they got to figure out, but
no, I appreciate that. First, the contribution. Thank you so much. And we'll get that to the screen. I've got a different setup than everybody else does that allows me to take the comments to the screen. So I got to go find it, but we will get that contribution to the screen. I wanted to address Hurricane Andrew picking on my Buckeyes again. So absolutely right. So we posted a video. This was about a month ago, Logan, where I went through all the elite programs in the country, Florida State included, and talked about when was the last down time for that program. And the way I defined that was, okay, these are the elite programs in college football, and we pretty much know who they are. and I'm not talking about right this second, but I'm talking about, so I included Florida State, I included Miami, Notre Dame, etc. Not just Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State. But, I went through Texas, Oklahoma on down the line. And basically, this is the last time they were down. And I defined that by saying you're not competing for your conference championship. That was my general. And so Florida State over the last 3 years has not competed seriously for the conference championship by any stretch. So Florida State's in a down time right now. They're 18-20 the last 3 years. But then I wanted to go before that and find the last time. And of course, you got to go all the way back to before Bobby Bowden in the mid-'70s when Florida State was down. And I don't consider having one bad season being down. If you're winning 10, 11 games every year, all of a sudden you go 7-5 one time, and then boom, you jump back up. That's not a down period. So I did that. And Hurricane Andrew, I got to tell you, what you're saying makes total sense and is logical that everybody's going to take their hit. People forget Alabama went 3-8 about 12 or 13 years ago. When was that? Like 2003 or 4. Alabama went 3-8. So yeah, it can happen to anybody. But understand, do you know the last time Ohio State had back-to-back losing seasons? 1924.
1924.
And the last time I could not find Ohio State not competing for its conference championship. And what I defined that as the last weekend of the season, you're playing a game where you have a chance to win the conference championship, back before conference championship games. You got to go back to the early 50s before you can find 2 or 3 consecutive years when Ohio State was not competing for the Big Ten championship the last weekend of the season. So it might be you might be waiting a while, Hurricane Andrew, but your point's well taken. It can happen to anybody. Oklahoma's been down, Texas has been down, USC's been down. I get it. You're right, but you might be waiting a while. Want to catch up with another contribution coming in from Martin again.
Yeah, this is a good one here. FSU's run of mediocrity is going to be 10 times worse than Miami's. I love hearing that. So it's going to go for, if Jason was on here, he'd just be a smart ass and say, how many years is it? 150 years. 150
years.
150 years. So pretty much while I'm still alive, and even,
I guess until I'm going to worry about it at that point.
Yeah, I might as well just stop caring then. But I'm good to know that, Martin, you know the future. You know a lot more than all of us here. Since you know the future, you're a wizard. You should go to Disney World and work in the Harry Potter side of the area there. I'm sure they'll hire you soon.
What I find satisfaction in, and Pinero 5 Piro, he's a big Michigan fan, Logan, and I appreciate this guy because he joins us on every live stream. He's on just about every live stream. He's got to take the beating on the Ohio State live stream, and he comes on the Miami and Florida State live streams, but he's a huge Michigan fan. And Pinero 5, I think, maybe has a little respect for me and cheers me every time I come on, and I appreciate it because I actually I will tell everyone I'm an Ohio State fan, but the initiative for the channel here is to be as neutral and unbiased as we possibly can. College football analysis. For example, I throw this out from time to time. Ohio State made the playoff in 2016. I flat out went on a rant all week and said they shouldn't have been selected. They shouldn't be in the playoff. So I try to call it like I see it. So I have told for those gloating Ohio State fans that just think they're going to just kill Michigan by 5 touchdowns every year. Yeah, it looks good right now, and that's what's going on, but don't expect that to last forever. Michigan's got a good program, and it just can't happen forever. So there you go.
I want to ask Pinero. Is his name Pinero? I want to ask if he can add any more Michigan gear in that profile picture. I mean, you got the beanie, got the shirt, got the is that a shot glass after a lost Ohio State or something? But if you're gonna be wearing all that, can you get a blue couch behind it too? I mean, come on now, we need something.
Yeah, he needs to step it up a little bit there.
Yeah, I'm not seeing enough execution.
Tyler's back at it here.
Oh, here we go.
We don't want to turn this into an Ohio State show. We got Logan here talking Florida State. So we'll address this, and then we'll run through the chat real quick to just make sure Logan's going to address everything, and then we'll call it a day. But when Ohio State scheduled Oklahoma was 8-5 and didn't finish top 30, but OSU is a top 8 program. Okay, getting pretty specific there. So I'll give you that, sir. I'll call in the next show. Yeah, please call in. We'll talk about it. Yeah. If you're going to, let's say you're program X, anybody, it doesn't matter, and you go out and schedule USC that went 8-5 last year, or Texas who went 8-5, I don't think anyone's going to beat you up for scheduling crappy teams. That's still making a quality signing when you're, just because they went 8-5 that specific season that they were signed doesn't mean that I think anyone believes Oklahoma's an 8-5 kind of program every year. So I don't think Ohio State was thinking, oh, Oklahoma went 8-5 this year. They're going to be horrible. They're going to be 8-5 for the next 20 years. Let's schedule them. I don't think that's really the way things work.
I don't believe so. I don't think so.
All right. Logan, you see anything else on the chat we need to address here?
I'm looking through here. Came to my senses is about 150 years. Yeah, so I guess I need to stop. Who do I need to? Well, I know exactly who you're going to answer. A team that I need to be a fan of for the rest of my life. It's going to be. I think you're just triggered that Tamayon Terry isn't coming to Miami, but I know he doesn't. From what I was told, sources tell me he doesn't like playing in soccer stadiums. So, and he'd also like to play in front of more than 1,000 people. So he won't be making his way to Miami unless it's an away game. So
yeah, some of those Miami showings at the gate are kind of rough.
Mm-hmm.
They're not playing a big game, boy.
It's kind of like,
it looks like a Pirates Brewers game in the middle of September when they're both like 25 games out of first place,
Yeah, it's still MLB, so that's tough too. Someone did ask here, Kenny asked, who donated earlier, asked, is there going to be a pass rush for FSU this year? So that's obviously been kind of a concern heading into the spring. We were hoping that we'd have spring practice, start seeing some guys coming out. Obviously, Josh Griffiths comes in as a true freshman that I think a lot of fans are kind of 50-50 on, comes from IMG, good competition there. Very fast, needs to build more on his lower base, but a fast guy. Your two guys returning, Joshua Kando and Janarius Robinson. I feel like Janarius Robinson has been at FSU for 15 years. We need to see a lot more consistency from him, but he's got a lot of potential there. He's got speed, and he's good with the run. So I want to see him have a big senior year. And he said he came back, but I feel like he wasn't really going to go somewhere outside of, for the draft. So I'm glad he came back. He's got a lot of potential there. That's a big boy. And Joshua Kando has always dealt with inconsistency with him being healthy during his whole career at FSU. Came in IMG 5-star. Cat Daddy came with Trey McKitty, and then shoulder problems, different kind of body problems, and then obviously the really bad injury that caused his season to end last year. But he's got huge potential. Strong guy. He's been lifting 100% from what I've heard, and that was months ago. So you got to hope that those two guys are going to be the ones that get around there. And I'd like to see a little bit of Amari Gaynor action get around. He played in high school on the weak side defensive end, extremely fast. I think he's good in coverage too if you're going for side-to-sideline plays, if you're getting ready for packages in that case. But the pass rush obviously was a concern heading into the spring, and hopefully we'll start getting some answers. And maybe there's going to be some young cats that kind of come in and press some people. And maybe Dennis Briggs might be a guy that you move over and shift over there too. I'm very high on Dennis Briggs. He's very fast, strong, and kind of like a quiet guy, but we saw flashes of him. You probably weren't really looking for him last year. He's wearing a weird number for a lot defensive lineman, but he's in there. He's got some potential that could be impressive. He's always the guy that's wearing glasses. Go look him up. He's a very nerdy looking guy, but he's strong, and he's been lifting well, about the same amount as Joshua Kando. So that's pretty much your pass rush kind of preview there heading into, what do we call this? Is not even spring. I guess this is summer. This is summertime. I can't believe we actually didn't get a spring game to go to. I feel like the spring game was 6 months ago, like it would have been, but time is flying by. It is nuts. How many people are still watching? Still over 100. I don't think we've gone below 100 in the last 30 minutes.
Yeah, nice work. Number one ND fan, if you're referencing Florida State, that all your conference titles came before there was a conference championship game. Well, that's not true, but let's understand, when did the ACC go to a conference championship game? It was something like 2007 or 8. So it's not been that long. It's been like 13 or 14 years, but they certainly won the 2012, 13, and 14 conference championship games.
Mm-hmm. We do remember that.
Won a national championship and went back to the college football playoffs those 3 years. Mm-hmm. So there's 3 of them right there, and there haven't been that many.
We'd like to see a little bit more. Maybe Norvell is going to bring those conference titles, and maybe we'll be going up to Charlotte for some stuff to actually go to a game there, because I've never been to a game in Charlotte. But I've heard it's a pretty good time, and I'd like to go there and enjoy Mike Norvell maybe get his first ACC championship. I don't know when the next time Miami will be there. I wish Notre Dame would actually, maybe think about getting to a conference championship, or actually, trying to get into a conference in football. But
and get them in the Coastal Division if that happens. ACC, get Notre Dame in the Coastal Division so they can even that thing out, because I haven't been much interested in the ACC championship game for a while, because the last several have just been yawners. My goodness, it's tough to get excited when Virginia and Pitt are out there and can barely get a first down. And man, well, last year's was more of an offensive show. Clemson put up, I think, 63. It was like 63-21. And then the year before, Pitt didn't throw for 10 yards in that game. Couldn't get a first down until like late in the game. And so it's just brutal. And so the coach will still trying to come up with a team. And Miami should own that division. They don't have a Clemson to deal with.
Oh, man. Yeah. Just like Martin. I know Martin sent another donation a couple minutes ago, but I didn't see what he said. He said, like FSU has been filling their stadiums lately. I can guarantee you the amount of people that are in Doak Campbell Stadium, no matter what Willie Taggart was or if he was still on the sideline, it was about quadruple the amount of people that were in Miami and y'all's soccer stadium. And then I think
tremendous.
Keep the soccer stuff for Europe. Over here, we play American football where you hit each other, hard, like Nigel Bradham did to what's his name back in 2011, and absolutely obliterated y'all's wide receiver.
Good stuff.
It's all it went all over the place. We went from FSU to now Miami, Ohio State, Notre Dame got in here. This is good stuff. I know I never should have mentioned Willie Taggart, but here it comes. It's going to start rolling in. But Jason would be here to back up Willie Taggart, but luckily he's not here. Since I got on here, I know he's probably at work. I get to take and, give my takes on it, and I don't have to worry about arguing, because me and Mark kind of have a same kind of agreement on a few things. And Willie Taggart just wasn't really might not be a good coach.
I don't think there's any question that Jimbo Fisher's a good coach. What you've outlined is that he did a great job at Florida State, then he gave up, and he was out of town. He was checked out, and I will give all relevance to that. There's no question that's what happened, and so he pretty much sabotaged the season to a certain extent, but he did a lot of good for the program. Obviously, when you win a national championship and win several ACCs and win 80-some% of your games, you're doing a pretty good job. So the end wasn't good. He left it in a bad place, no doubt.
Yeah. Martin,
but he did a lot of good before that happened.
Yeah, there was some good in there. I mean, being called maybe one of the best college football teams ever, I think that will usually do it. What do we have here? Martin says a soccer stadium that hosts Super Bowls. Logan, nice. We're not even going to argue about that part of the Super Bowl situation, because first of all, obviously a Super Bowl can be held, can't be held in Tallahassee, not enough hotels, blah, blah. We're not even getting into that conversation. We're going back to where a soccer stadium, and that's a nice soccer stadium that you'll have. I like y'all's soccer stadium. I think it's nice. I'm glad that you agreed that it is a soccer stadium. It's very nice. And maybe I'll go, I don't know, kick a ball in a net there. I don't know. Yeah, stadium in a whole different city. Yeah, no. Now, if the Steelers do go down and play a Super Bowl there inside that soccer stadium, I will have to go. And that'll be my first football game in person there. And it'll probably be fans there. I just don't know if I want to go down to that stadium and have stuff thrown on me like y'all usually do. Like y'all throwing stuff down on the field when y'all are getting beat by Florida State, throwing stuff down on the field in the end zone and at players and such. I don't know if that's really something I'm want to be a part of. I think my second best team. What do you think, Mark, from Tyler P?
Well, I think it's possible, because I think right now the ACC is Clemson, and then you got a glut of Louisville, North Carolina, possibly Florida State could jump into the mix. Miami could possibly jump into the mix. But last year was North Carolina and Louisville were generally the second best teams, but, well, Virginia there as well. So you've got Clemson, that's one of the 3 or 4 best teams in the country and programs. And then you've got Florida State and Miami recruiting at a top 15 level, but they haven't produced that on the field the last few years. Then you've got almost the rest of the conference in the same group. They're all recruiting like 30 to 40 range, and they're all churning out 7 and 5 kind of seasons. And if you look at what Louisville, Boston College, Virginia, Pitt, on down the line have done, there's a group of teams, they're pretty much the same team. Man, when you have a division that's won by a different team 7 consecutive years, that shows you parity. It's not good parity. It's not good for the conference because they all go 7 and 5. But when you have a team win a division like Pitt did 2 years ago, and they went 7 and 7. But Florida State, Miami, they're the 2 teams and 2 programs that you have to look at if you're an ACC supporter and say, we need those 2. Because Virginia's going to elevate so high. Louisville's only going to elevate so high because they've never done it in the past. They're just looking to go 8 and 4 and get to decent bowl games. But Florida State and Miami are the 2 that have shown the resources, the capability, and obviously the recruiting, the amount of talent in their backyards to be able to be national powers. So they're the 2 that have to get it done.
Absolutely. And it makes better for college football. For Miami and Florida State being good teams, obviously it helps the ACC, but as college football as a whole, having Miami and Florida State, obviously they're always on ABC, even if they're unranked. They're always at 3:30 or they're going to be at 8 p.m. And you're going to send Reese Davis and Kirk Herbstreit there to go cover it. I mean, it just always brings in views no matter what, because it's a nasty rivalry. So them being ranked and actually having good seasons makes college football even better. Martin's still rolling. This season, a 50 burger is coming at our soccer stadium. I'm glad you call it soccer stadium against y'all, Logan. You should come. It'll be fun. Good way to ring in the Norvell era. Wow. You give me an invite, huh? Well, you let me know if there's going to be more than 5,000 people there, and I'll maybe think about it. Hit my line on Twitter, and we'll think about it. If you get more than 5,000 people to come, because, I mean, you should. You have Derek King that's going to be the quarterback, the savior in Christ for you guys. He's going to save everything. I'll be there, I promise. 5,000 or more.
You know, Logan, to go back to your last point, what I like as a college football fan is when I can look at like an SEC or a Big Ten, and there's, sure, Ohio State dominates the Big Ten, but Wisconsin's really good, Penn State, Michigan, etc., Iowa. Or if you go to the SEC, Alabama's owned the conference, but LSU jumped up, Auburn's jumped up, Florida's good now, Georgia's really good. So you got like 4 or 5 really good teams, top 10 to 15 caliber teams. The the ACC hasn't had that in a long time, but at least during the 2012, 13, 14, 15, 16 range, everybody looked at that. Everybody circled Florida State Clemson as, okay, this is going to decide it. And Florida State obviously owned it, and they beat down Clemson, but Clemson was coming. And then obviously the transition took place and Clemson turned it around. But for 4 or 5 years, that was the game in the ACC. So we at least had that. That's what was cool about the ACC at that point, is that even though there wasn't a bunch of parity at the top, you at least had the two huge programs, and you were like, I got to see that game because that's going to decide everything.
Absolutely. And that's what it was. That's really, I remember in 2013, number 3 versus number 5. Florida State was 5, Clemson was number 3.
51-14, right?
Yeah, that was a different kind of game. I mean, that was a different kind of beast there, but that still was your deciding factor. And that's how it was for 2014. A little bit into 2015, of course, but
sure.
It was it's always that kind of game. I wish there was a little bit more, and that's why you want to see Miami be good too. I think it's so much better to have Martin in here. We mess around all that kind of stuff, but we want both teams, hopefully to be good. So then whenever you're fighting at prime time on 8 p.m., it's 2 top 15 teams going at it, 2 top 10s, whatever, going at it, and just makes a whole better experience. And then you can trash talk it even more after you get the win in the soccer stadium. So
and back to Clemson, even though they've been the king of the conference the last 5 years, it's only been the last 2 years against Florida State that have been a blowout. Even if you go back to 2017, even though Francois got hurt in the opener, it was a down year for Florida State, they were competitive. And that's always my argument with Jason in comparing 2017 and 18. They were competitive, 7-6, but they're playing Clemson. I remember watching that game, and you guys are coming down the field with like 5 minutes left with a chance to take the lead. It's still a really good game. And then Blackman throws a pick, and then you go sideways the last 5 minutes. But it's still a really good game, even though you guys had a rough year. It's only been two games that have been blowouts against Clemson.
Yep. I know there's always that little shy chance. Of course, last year there's no way in a living, that was. I don't even know I don't even remember that, actually. I don't remember last year's Clemson game a lot. I really don't remember. I think that's gone. I think they erased that. Trust me, I got the blueprint to beat Clemson. What's your blueprint, Tab? And then Martin, you said you want FSU to suffer a little bit. Well, you're cruel. You don't like college football. You got the blueprint that I wish you hand that out. Is it getting rid of Dabo Swinney after his not saying anything at all? His thing's been going on for about 48 hours now, if not more. Mike Norvell's situation, what happened today, has all been figured out. Teams on the right step forward heading on from this, and seems like Dabo Swinney is still keeping his mouth shut up there in South Carolina. I think things need to be handled up there. I don't know if we have any Clemson fans that are in here and can tell us what Dabo Swinney's doing, but maybe your blueprint is to get rid of him.
As SEC Dog points out, we know that Louisiana Tech's got the blueprint on Miami. They shut him out in the bowl game. So,
yeah, that is true. Louisiana Tech, really, 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 really good team. Don't know anything about them, but man, they sure. But I can't say anything too much. I mean, I can't say too much. But Louisiana Tech is really solid, really solid.
All right, man. Well, you did a nice job for us today. So again, I appreciate you squaring up this situation, laying down the information, going to all your sources and finding out exactly what happened and where it stands right now. And this was a fun time and talking Florida State football.
Yeah, no, that was great. We had a lot of people watching, and as always, make sure you hit that like button. I forgot it earlier, but hit that like button so then more people will be able to see the video and more FSU fans can jump in here, and maybe some Miami fans too. But thanks, Martin, for throwing some arguments in here and trying to annoy me. You did a good job. But yeah, as always, I always appreciate Mark for allowing us to come on here and speak some Noles. And I think things have been handled very smoothly, and I don't think it's over yet, but I think FSU is on the right path to get things figured out, and it will be all right. It was very scary last night, but I think things are going to be okay. Positivity.
Also understand, folks, that you can go back to old videos and hit the like button. So if you want to help us out, spend like 30 seconds and just like knock out like the last 5 videos and just hit like. So you can always go back to the old videos and hit the like button. And we always want your comments as well. I got season previews coming, as Luke Walker requested. He wants North Carolina to be previewed. Luke, we will get to it. I released Maryland this morning, and of course, check those out and leave your season predictions for all these teams down in the comments section below. So before we sign off, I want to give a special, man, I hate to use the term, but it's the only one that comes to mind because I've told Jason I never use the term. I'll give a shout out to, we got Turan, Kripsick, Mike Williams, George 850 Kane, Martin Rosario, New King God, and Kenny Zapata. And another one sneaking in here from Turan again with the super chat contribution. So we appreciate that.
Charles Barkley of the SEC. Jeez, it's been a rowdy group. This is a random. It's Thursday, right? Yeah, a random
Thursday afternoon.
Dallas just asked, "Where's all your cans of beer? Are you drunk?" No, not at 3 o'clock. Just give me a couple more hours till happy hour, and I'll figure out a way to get a drink going here for you, Dallas. Don't worry about it.
So everybody that's with us right now, make sure you jump on back next Tuesday night at 7 o'clock Eastern for more Florida State talk. And actually, we got a little special edition of Mark Rogers TV tonight at 7. We've got James Coleman coming on the line. I've got some other African-American guests, and we're going to have a round table discussion just talking about the situation currently, and I want to get their perspective. And it's just want to get those perspectives from the people that obviously it hits most. But again, Florida State talk next Tuesday night at 7 o'clock Eastern time. And Logan, I can't thank you enough for jumping on here, setting the record straight, and getting us all updated on the current situation with Mike Norvell and the Noles.
Appreciate you for having me. Hope everybody has a great rest of the Y'all's week and enjoy the weekend ahead.